Hello, everyone. Welcome to our next workshop in the series of these three workshops is called How to Guarantee Growth. Today's workshop is titled How to Create Your Elevator Pitch and Win Business in Networking Events. So let's repeat a scenario in our head. So usually when we are in a gathering, in a networking meeting or even social gathering or wherever, the usual question is, so what do you do? And often people start to describe their titles or their qualification as what do they do? I am a lawyer, I am a doctor, I am a CEO, I am a marketing person, or whatever. I'm a salesperson. This is usually what people describe themselves as the qualification, as what they do, their job title. Now, the issue here is that nobody is interested to know about this. Okay. No, nobody wants to know um, your job title or your achievements or what certifications you have done, what degrees you've got, what kind of school and university you went to, what kind of medals and honors, all those things that you have achieved. It's all about you. It's not that much of an interest. Why? Because at the end of the day, the hottest topic on this planet that everyone wants to talk about is me, is themselves. So, although people want to know what you do, but it is also ironical that they're not that much interested to know what you do. It is a social question that gets asked. And what happens is that when we start to talk about what we do and how big or small we are, and we start to talk about that, that starts to close down the conversation because there is nothing in that conversation that the other person can chip in or can find interesting to attach themselves and start to understand that okay, so what is it that they are after. So when we say what do you do, and we talk about the and we talk about the and we talk about the job things that we do, um, it's not what people are really interested to know. So what exactly people are interested to know? What exactly do they want to hear? So let's look at that part because it is important for you to understand what clicks, what is the right thing to say, how to build that rapport, how to connect with that other person. And you've spent all this time to investigate who your target market is and what their pain points are and all that. But then ultimately, when someone asks what you do, we start to talk about ourselves. There is no point in doing that because you spent all this time in figuring out the pain points and what appeals to our market, and we're not talking anything about it. We all have many different identities. At the end of the day, we need to understand that it is not about who we are and what various roles and achievements that we can put forward in the world. Um, One of the rules that we follow in the business inception camp, which I took the example yesterday, one of the rules is that my achievements are not important. What I have achieved is not important. My opinions are not important. Now, these things may sound contradictory to common sense, but I'm going to explain these things to you. So just hang on for some more time and you will understand what these things actually mean. So just keep in mind that my achievements are not important, my opinions are not important. And it will get clarified as we talk more that what does this mean. When you are in a social gathering, when you are in a network meeting, or when you're meeting with people, even one-on-one, doesn't matter if it's a big meeting or a small meeting or one-on-one, the focus should always be on the other person. The focus should never be on you. It is not about you. This is very, very important point that I want you to understand. It is not about you. It was never about you. Even when someone asks, so what do you do? Generally, we say, I'm this, I'm that. Once again, that's the wrong way to answer. And I'm going to tell you what is the right way to answer. But for me to give you that information, for me to give you those tools and techniques, I first want you to understand the thought process behind it. That why I am saying this. It is very important for you to understand the thought process behind it, because without this thought process, the tools and the techniques that I'm going to share with you, they are not going to gel, or you're not going to really understand why I am saying those things. So I'm giving you the thought process behind the tool and technique, and then ultimately I will give you the way to answer that question. So what do you do? Always keep in mind, it is not about you. It was never about you. It is about them. The focus should always be on the other person. The focus should always be on your customer. The focus should always be on the person who you are meeting. It has to be about them. Even what you do, it has to be about them only. It cannot be about you. This is a very important point. And once you understand that, you will stop answering the question that what I do is I'm a CEO, I'm a salesperson, I have this and this kind of company. That kind of answer will stop. So if that answer stops, then what is the right answer? Before I give you the right answer, I'll give you one more point around this whole conversation. So as I'm talking about the thought process behind this concept, so as we saw that the thought process is that it's not about you, it's about them. And the other thing is, when someone asks you, so what do you do? Or when you have to do an elevator pitch, or when you have to explain what your business is about, you're giving them a message. That's what I call a message. Okay, whether it's a Facebook post, or whether it's a ad on a brochure, or whether you are saying a 30-second speech in a networking meeting, doesn't matter. It's a message. Now, most people, the way they do their message is, they are trying to get a sales out of it, or they're doing a sales pitchy kind of a messaging. So all they are asking, or not really asking, but what they're trying to do is get a yes or no answer. Now, that's the next part of this thought process. I want you to, once again, stop doing that. The purpose of the message is not to get a yes or no answer. The purpose of the messaging is to start the conversation. That is what the purpose of the conversation is. Yeah. It's not about getting them to say yes or no. It is about getting them interested to talk further about what you do. If you can achieve that purpose with your message, whether it's a post, whether it's an ad, whether it's a brochure, or an elevator pitch, whatever, if the other person says, so tell me more about it. Yeah, that's quite interesting. That is what we are aiming for. That is the measurement of the effectiveness of your message. If the other person shows interest and they want you to keep talking, that means you've done a good job. That means you have said something which is of importance to them. They are finding something interesting in your message, and they want to know more about it. Because at the end of the day, even when they're asking what you do, the way you have answered your question, you have made it about them. And as soon as you make it about them, they are interested. And when you make it about them and it's important to them, then they are going to ask you, tell me more about it. This is quite interesting. That's something like that. On those, along those lines, you will get your answer. So that's the point that we want to get to is um, someone to be interested to talk more about what you do. So taking the example of a business inception camp itself as a service, and the segment that I picked yesterday was small business woman entrepreneur. Here is a potential pitch that I could perhaps give in a networking meeting, or if someone comes and asks me, so what do you do? Um, I could say something along these lines. I could say exactly that, or I could use those words and rephrase them in some way. But what I'm going to say to them is, how would your life change if you could learn just three skills? How to get support from your family and employees for your business, how to connect with potential market in such a way that you will never run out of customers, and how to shift from being owned by your business to owning your business. Let's have a chat if you want to know how to learn these skills. I can use exactly this, or I can modify the words a little bit, just whatever feels natural. However, I can deliver it in a more natural way. But as you can see, that first of all, this message is quite crisp. It comes from the segment exercise that we did. So I know that for this particular segment, small business women entrepreneur, it is important for them to have support from their family. It is important for them to have a healthy pipeline of customers, because at the end of the day, their own confidence is on stake here. They want to do well in their business. They're already not getting much support from the family side. And on top of that, if they are not going to do well in their business, then that is going to reflect back on them. They will probably start to see that they are not competent enough, or the confidence will go down. So it's very important for them to have a healthy pipeline of customers. And the other important thing for them is having that work-life balance as well. Is not being consumed by the business not taking over their whole life, and they are able to run the business rather than the business running them. So these are the 3 points that I picked. But as you can see, the whole focus, the whole spotlight is on the other person. So when someone is asking me, so what do I do? I tell them, this is what I do. This is what I deliver. And if I don't say, let's have a chat, um, I'll probably use the word let's have a chat in a networking event, or when I'm doing my 30-second speech or something like that. But if I'm in a social meeting and someone has asked me, then I might leave that last line out. That is the point when I will be expecting them to say to me, that's quite interesting, tell me more, how do you do that, or something like that, or what does that involve. If these 3 points are important for my target audience, and if I'm standing in front of my target audience, they are going to ask me that question. That is for sure. So two parts to this message. One is I have delivered something which is of importance to them, and the last part is a call to action, is to tell them so what to do next. If I'm in a networking meeting, then let's have a chat if you want to know more about these skills, or something along the line. So this is not exact message, as I say, it's a potential pitch. um, the words I can play with a little bit, but this is to give you an idea of how we have used that segment exercise and those emotional needs to convert into a message that speaks to the other person about them. It's got nothing to do with me. I'm not saying um, I have a business like this. I've got 7 businesses. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. It's nothing to do with me. There's nothing in there that says who I am and what I'm doing. It's all about them. Another potential message, or I could use it like an ad. So this is something which I could do if I'm doing an online post, or if I'm doing an ad or something like that. I could do something like this, that same 3 points, and then click here to find more to learn these skills, and then that will take them to a page where they can read more about it, and they can do registration or whatever they want to do from there. So that's that's a way by which I have used that segment exercise and made it all about them, so they connect with my message. So I'm just going to stop here for a minute and see if there are any questions. I'm just going to unmute. Okay, so you can unmute from your side, and if there are any questions, then ask me.
Hello.
Otherwise, we can proceed further.
हेलो.
Hi, Subodh. Yes. Do you have any question?
यस सर. सर
Yes.
मुझे ये नहीं समझा, ओन बाय बिजनेस और ओनिंग द बिजनेस,
Okay.
इसका फर्क क्या है?
Okay. So, what is the difference between? So, I'm just going to repeat what you said in English, because this recording will be shared with many other people as well. So, I'm just going to keep talking in English only.
ओके.
Um, so, the question you asked is, what is the difference between owned by business and owning the business? So, look, so that's another point. So, before I answer that question, this is a very good point that I would like to highlight. Sometimes it's good to deliberately put some confusing things in your message, because that draws the other person to clarify. So you asked me that, right? My intention, what is my intention? What is the purpose of my message? So do you remember what I said? What is the purpose of my message? Did you remember that, Subodh?
नो सर.
Oh, you don't? Okay. Do you, I'm just going to go back. Do you remember this? What I said, the purpose of my message is?
सर
So
मैंने लेट ज्वाइन
the
किया.
purpose of my message is not to get a yes or no. I'm not looking at that you get 100% of what I am telling you, right? So it's not that, okay, yes, I get it, or no, I don't get it. So I'm not looking for a yes or no. I'm looking for a conversation with you. Yes, that is the purpose of my message, to have a conversation. And that is exactly what just happened. So you just asked me a question. You just asked me a clarifying question. Now we go on a conversation that is lot more powerful than trying to come up with a perfect pitch, rather than trying to say, oh, have I covered everything? Have I used any kind of acronyms? Or what if people don't know the meaning of this word? I'm using this. That's fine. If they don't know, that's okay. They're going to ask you. If the person is interested to know, they will ask you. That is an indication. So deliberately do that. Sometimes it helps to ice break, to do that conversation. Now, coming back to your question itself, what is the difference between owned by business and owning a business? So what happens is that usually when people start a new business and they haven't have much experience around running a business, then they get consumed by it. The business takes up a lot of their time. So especially when you go and work for someone, you're working from 9 to 5. You start at 9, you finish at 5. Even if you work 1 or 2 hours late here and there, but at least you know that there is a set time to start work and finish work. But when you are working for yourself, literally you are working 24/7. So many people don't know when to set the boundaries, when to stop working, or when to start working. So slowly the whole thing starts to consume their private life. They are not able to interact with their friends. They don't have any time left to meet with their friends anymore, spend any time with their family, play with their kids. They slowly start to see that the business is starting to consume their life. So they're not business owners anymore. The business is actually owning them now, indirectly. They are not, if someone is asking them to come to a birthday party, they can't go there because they have to go and work in their business. If you got a retail shop, if you got a restaurant or a cafe, you have to open it, you have to be there. You can't enjoy any social gathering, you can't go anywhere. So those kind of things will start to happen for small business owners. What we want to do is we want to bring that balance back in their life. We want to teach them skills that they can apply, so instead of the business owning them, they become the real owner of the business. So once you own something, then you have control over it. Do you understand that? So when
Yeah.
you own something, you control it. So then you decide when you want to work, how you want to work, what you want to do. You decide that. But initially, early days, it's usually the business that is deciding how you run your life, whether you have time to do this or you don't have time to do that. Um, what do you think in your own experience as a new business owner? Do you do you see those elements? Do you agree, disagree with what I'm saying?
Yes, I agree.
Hmm. So that is the purpose of so from business inception camp point of view, if I am going to be talking about business inception camp, one of the points that I'm putting forward is that because this is an emotional need. This is this brings stress. This brings stress and anxiety to people that they may be doing quite well. There are, I know many business owners who are doing actually quite well in terms of money. They are making a lot of money, but they have absolutely none social life left. Okay. They go. My own uncle, my mama, when he's not alive anymore, but he had he still has, his son owns that business now, and they have a very healthy business. He was quite rich. They still are quite rich. So they were making a lot of money. But I always saw him going to work at about 6 o'clock in the morning, and he was coming back at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night time. And then he'll go back again at 6 o'clock or something. So he will only spend that much time. And also on the weekends, when we were growing at that time, there was no such concept of weekend. We only used to have Sundays off, 6 days working days. And he used to also go to work on Sundays, maybe not that much, but he used to go. So he was working 7 days. They were making good money. He had absolutely no private life, he had absolutely no social life. So that is what I mean by the business owning your life. So what is the point of earning that much money when you can't even stop and enjoy it? Any other question?
No, sir.
Okay, okay. So I'll just stop here for a minute and give you some time to maybe think about a potential message that you could perhaps, if using the exercises from yesterday, if you want to use one or two emotional needs from your customer side and see how you can make it about them. So, what is emotionally important for your end customers, and how you can use that and make a message which is about them, which is not about you, that I am my business is about providing these services and I provide this and that. That's fine. But what is it that you're trying to achieve for them? What is the pain point that those people have? So as you can see in this message that's in front of you, there is nothing about me in here, who I am, what I do. There is not even a name of my business here. It doesn't even say what I'm talking about. It only talks about their pain point and what I will be able to give to them. So using this kind of approach, I would like you to think of a way by which you can also rephrase your message. So if someone asks you in a networking meeting in a 30 seconds, explain what kind of business you are in, then you shouldn't say I have a website, I do this, I provide vendors. No, no, that's fine. I mean, it's not exciting for people to take it forward and then talk about it or more. You want to hook them in. You want to tell them what's in it for them, why they should be talking further about it to you. So what can you tell them in that 10 seconds,
Yes.
15 seconds? What can you tell them?
सर अभी तो कुछ नहीं बोल सकते.
That's
See,
okay.
sir,
I'm going to
uh,
pause.
ये
I'm going to pause
ये
for 2, 3 minutes, and I will let you come up with something. So this is the workshop. So just take this time and just come up with something. If you have any question, ask me. Yes.
नो सर क्वेश्चंस तो नहीं है, पर ये जो बात करनी है सर वो कुछ वैल्यू एडिशन होगा. उनके जो पेन पॉइंट्स है वो तो क्लियर होंगे ही, उसके साथ जो वैल्यू एडिशन देने वाले हैं मीन्स अलग से क्या देने वाले हैं.
Okay, just keep to the pain points for now. Let's just only focus on the pain points. Let's do the basics and then we'll worry about the value addition. So, value addition is fine. Let's first cover what they want you to do. So, what exactly someone is asking or expecting from you. Let's cover that. Let's cover the basics first. Um, so, even if that means you only come up with one line, that's okay. One line is fine. As long as you can tell me something, think of me as your customer. And if I ask you, Subodh, what do you do?
यस.
What is it that you are going to tell me? Think of it this way. The whatever you are going to tell me, you should, your objective should be that I need to ask you the question. That's interesting. Tell me more. I want to know more about it.
एक्चुअली सर ये क्वेश्चन रिपीट कर सकते हो.
Sorry.
कैन यू रिपीट इट.
So I'm saying I am going to ask you the question. So, Subodh, what do you do? Okay. Now, don't give me the answer yet. Don't give me the answer yet. I'm saying I'll ask you this question. Then you'll give me an answer. You'll tell me what you do. When I hear what you do, the next thing I'm going to say is, that's very interesting. I want to know more about it. So you have to say something in a way that I ask you that question. That's very interesting. So what can you tell me that I'll ask you that question? Take few minutes. That's okay. I'm just going to pause here. I'm going to mute and take a few minutes and then we can come back to it. So keep in mind that whatever you are going to say, it has to be about me, your customer. So you have to say something which is important to me. Only then I will ask you, tell me more. If it's not important to me, I won't ask you anything more. So you'll say I do this and I'll say okay, good. The point here is not that you should ask a question to them or you can do this. That's fine. You can do whatever you want. But today's topic is totally different. So all I am requesting you is just give a break to how you normally think. Just stop that for a minute and understand the concept that I'm trying to share with you. Unless you stop your thought process and let me share my thought process, it's not going to work because I'm just going to keep talking here and you are listening from a totally different angle. So it's not going to work like that. Um, Afterwards, you can then compare what I'm sharing with you. If you think it's not going to work, then that's fine. You don't have to take it. But when you are learning something, you try to learn it. You can't think what you know and learn from that angle. That way, there is no learning happening because all you are trying to do is just just do exactly what you would have done anyway, right? So give it a rest. How you would say what you would say for a minute. Just put it aside and try and see this point of view. Try and see if this can bring a different kind of results to you or not. So That's the point here. So I'm not saying this is the ultimate way to do business. This is the ultimate way to do that. I'm very sure that many people are very smart here, more smart than me. They have very they have figured out another way of doing that. That's okay. I'm not disrespecting or not saying this is the only way. I'm saying that today this is the approach I'm sharing. So try and listen and grasp what I'm sharing rather than trying to understand it from the point of view of what you already know, because then there is no learning that is going to happen. So you have to put aside your thought process when you come to the class. When you come to learn something, you learn. Okay, that at that time you stop analyzing, you stop comparing it with your knowledge, what you already have, because what you have is based on certain experience or certain way of you doing it. What I'm sharing is sharing from a totally different angle. Unless you stop the thought process that you currently have and allow me to share my thought process, you will not be able to expand. So keep that in mind when you are listening to this video again, that it is not about me saying what you are doing currently is wrong or stop doing it. I'm only sharing another way. And if you think this way can produce different results, better results, then by all means use it.